You're welcome to the Policy Council. My name is Okwemi Agbaje. Today we talk about residence registration. The Lagos State government has set up a mechanism for registering citizens in the state. I talked to the chief executive officer of that agency, and we explore the concept and the benefits of citizens registration in Lagos State. Enjoy the program. You're welcome back. It's the Policy Council still, and my guest is the General Manager and CEO of the Lagos State Residence Registration Agency. She holds a BA in Economics and Business Administration from the Washington State University. She used to be a Systems and Database Administrator in the Office of National Statistics in the UK. She also worked in the Ministry of Justice in the UK as a System Administrator as well. And since 2010, she has been the General Manager and CEO of the Lagos State Residence Registration Agency. Ms. Yinka Fashola, you're welcome to the Policy Council.
Thank you very much for having me.
So let's talk about this concept of residence registration. Why is the Lagos State government interested in registering the residents in the state?
Okay. We've come to a point whereby there's so many different changes going on in the state, and there's so many different services and transactions that are being brokered as we speak. But how do you know that the services that you're providing, one, meets the needs of the people? Do you understand? And in that, you're looking at, are those services even enough for the needs of the people? So because of that, and because there's some irregularity with the data that is out there, there is a need to actually find out how many people actually live in this state, what exactly do they do, what are their needs, what is their demographic composition. So how many men, women, children, how many go to school or don't go to school, how many are employed, unemployed, what is their normal means of transportation on any given day. That way, the government can plan and allocate its resources effectively to actually move the state forward.
Tell us about LASSRA. The Lagos State Registration. When was it created? How was it created? What was its institutional structure? And how is it organized?
Okay. There is an enabling law that brought the agency into effect, and that was passed in 2011. And we have the mandate to create a demographic database for government and for the use of government in planning and allocating resources. Even with that law, we have been about, I would say from about 2009, 2010, planning, testing, looking at, is this project actually feasible? Will it work? Will it be sustainable over time? And then the law was passed, and then we brought out all those planning and feasibility studies and started to put them into effect for us to be able to actually go live last year in September to the actual registration of residents of the state. Yeah.
So does LASSRA, what information do you capture in the registration process?
Okay. I'm glad you asked that question because we have a lot of misconception out there. All we ask is basic information. What is your name? Where do you live? We ask your educational level. We don't even ask what level have you attained. What are all the levels that you have attained? We ask what's your normal means of getting to and from in terms of transportation. And that is roughly about it. We usually don't ask the individual about children's information because we register everybody. So everybody is seen as an individual. So regardless of your age, ethnic background, language, or even nationality, you are entitled to register as long as you stay.
Because you are interested in anybody who resides.
Exactly.
In Lagos.
So it has nothing to do with your ethnic background, as long as you live in the state. If you're going to provide, say, water for a new area, you don't need to know how many Igbos or Yorubas live there. Just want to know who are the people that live there. Besides knowing who the people are, you need to know if you have a family or you have single occupancy. That way you can determine how much each will use. That is why we ask all these questions. I mean, it's an operation that takes about 5 minutes. But we also have a biometric element because we have to make sure that we don't have duplicates and that person is who they say they are.
Okay, let's take a short time out. We've had a little introduction into what the LASSRA, Lagos State Residence Registration Agency, is, and we'll dig deeper with Ms. Yinka Fashola, the CEO of the agency, after this time out. You're welcome back. I'm talking to the General Manager and CEO of the Lagos State Residence Registration Agency, Ms. Yinka Fashola. She's been a global systems and database administrator in the UK, in the Office of National Statistics. So she knows a little bit about handling databases and systems. So tell me, this operation you're running is, I suspect it will be fairly intricate in terms of information systems requirements, infrastructure, IT systems.
Okay, yes it is. What we have is a very complex and delicate infrastructure. We have a state-of-the-art biometric system that is being handled by NEC, who are #1 in the world. And it not only does it have what you call fingerprint, we also have a facial recognition software, which I am very happy to say can actually distinguish between identical twins.
Really?
Yes. In terms of the agency itself, we have about 10 supporting departments within it. We have a registration that actually focuses on all the logistics of registration. We have the ICT department, which has several arms in it. We have a verification unit because we verify all the data that comes in. We also have what we call an investigation unit. When things do not pass the verification stage, we actually investigate. We have a database section. We have the IT hubs which upload data. We actually also have registration stations. Now, we have about 211 registration stations across the state. And when we first started out, we had 1,500 enrollment staff that we actually recruited, various coming from various backgrounds. Mostly, they had they were computer literate, and you have a few more that came in to support the project. In total, we have just under 1,300 staff that are actually out there. Because we have a very active mobile registration team. So they go out and about. So not only the static stations, we have mobile teams in every division of the state. So they go out to businesses and markets and hospitals. We also bear in mind that some people might be mobility challenged in one way or the other. So we go out to them. The only people we don't visit are people who are in hospital because we figured that we shouldn't add to their stress. In moving along from that, we have a very extensive data center with a cloud backup system, so all the data is there and is secure. We also have a very extensive encryption system, so all the data that we capture is encrypted. Now, I just want to point out something very quickly because it's something that's come up quite often. Data that we capture gets anonymized, which means that you will not be able to tell Mr. A that lives on street A that has 4 kids, because that was the whole genesis behind it. What the government needs is just information.
It's the totals.
Exactly.
And the demographic structure.
Exactly.
And the number of people in this local government. And all
exactly.
Of that, not the individualized use of data.
The residency card that we are going to produce was a byproduct of it, because each person is unique in terms of the registration and their biometrics. We found that we can actually produce a residency card for them. But in the long run, as long as you can remember your residence number, that is all you were ever going to need.
Interesting. So what does it take to register? If I wanted I must confess I haven't registered. But if I wanted to register tomorrow, what do I do?
You can actually register today. You can register online.
Okay.
And you put in all your details. But you will have to attend one of our registration stations to have your biometrics captured. That takes 2-3 minutes. Other than that, you actually have to go to one of our registration points, and one of our registration officers will take down your details, capture your biometrics, and they will issue you with a temporary card, which lasts about 1 year until the permanent card is ready. But when you go, you must take documents with you. This is an agency whereby we need to support that biometric system to make sure that the data that we capture has integrity. Rubbish in data is rubbish out data. So you will have to take some evidence document that shows who you are and where you live. So you cannot put down the address of your company because you don't live there. It is actually where you live. So for that, we ask people to bring a NEPA bill. Even if you live with somebody, get that person to endorse the NEPA bill, a rent receipt. There's so much paper out there that actually identifies you. And we tell people who are not sure, bring everything you've got. We'll tell you we'll find something that works. We'll find something that works. We even work with those people who are, unfortunately, of one reason or the other. We had a case where the lady's house got burnt down. So she had no paperwork. What we did was we went to her community. Somebody in the community knows her. And when someone was able to say, yes, we know her, this is her name, this is where she used to live, that suffices.
So far, I mean, you started this in September 2013, right?
Yes.
How many people have we registered?
We have done 1.8 million as of the end of May. And we've had some challenges in getting people to come out. So we have changed our strategy a bit, and the agency and all its staff have become more mobile, even though that we have all the stations open. We followed the distribution of local governments and LCDAs. So we have an office in each one. But in the process of registration, we found out that, for example, the people that live in the riverine area do not have an LCDA in that riverine area, which means that we have to go to them. Now, I have to get my staff on a boat, which means I have to go with them on that boat. And some of the boats that we use would also stem down to getting onto a canoe. Do you understand? We have, we've been out to the Makoko area to register them. We had that's
the community that lives on water.
Yes, we've actually completed their registration, and working with them, we're able to give every single, I would say, dwelling in that area an address. You know, so
what kind of addresses? Sharks Avenue?
Oh, no.
Or Catfish Road? Let's take a short time out. I'm enjoying this conversation with Ms. Yinka Fashola. We'll be right back.
Who knows Abi better thing? Abi who no like better thing? All these fine things where they see so. Now money government they take do now. Abi, I think it's like, you know, I mean, excuse me, I did pay my tax. I did do it, I did pay my tax. Say you don't pay your own tax. If you pay your tax, I pay. Oh.
Pay your tax. It's your civic responsibility. It's your duty. It's the law.
You're welcome back. It's still the Policy Council, and we're talking about citizens registration, or residents registration rather, with Ms. Yinka Fashola, CEO of the Lagos State Residents Registration Agency. So, Madam, you were talking about the challenges you faced and having to go on boats and register people in the water-based community. So, what other challenges do you face?
Well, the main challenge today that also gives us the low figure that we have is, believe it or not, just as you've said, It is the corporate world that has not registered.
Okay.
It is and we actually go out to them. And it's very disheartening when you go to a large organization of 500 people and you only do 20.
Let me ask you one question. What's the benefit to a resident? Okay. Is there any benefit to a resident if he registers?
Well, okay, I'll put it in a simpler term so that everybody can understand. You live in a community. It's a brand new community, for example. Now, you're going to need water. You're going to need roads. You're going to need power. You might need healthcare. You might need parks. You might need schools, just as the new Lekki community is. But half the time you complain to government that they're not doing anything when government doesn't even know that you're there. Because you've built up this community without their involvement. Do you understand? So once the government knows that you're there, then it's going to look at the road map for the roads or the mappage for the hospitals. Do you understand? I always give an example. If you look at Old Ikoyi, Victoria Island, it's mostly our parents that are living there, our grandparents. And it will make no sense to put a nursery school there. Because most of the people that have young children are moving out towards Ikorodu, or they're moving out beyond Lekki and Naja. Do you understand? That is where the schools are now needed. I look around and there is no hospital here dedicated solely for children. And over 40% of the population of Lagos State is under the age of 18. There is no dedicated hospitals to women or maybe to men. Africa is a country that is rampant with sickle cell. There is no dedicated sickle cell center. Do you understand? Even in Lagos. These are some of the things that not that they cannot be implemented, but you need information.
The data.
Yes.
These are the number of children in this community.
And I tell people, I said, look at where we are today. Everybody is electronic. You have a mobile phone, you need to have an iPad, and all kinds of gimmicks and laptops and whatnot. The same with government. It needs data. It was data that was used to populate all those things. If you look at the average citizen today, and if they lose their phone, they panic. Because everything they know is on that phone. Now we're asking people, give government that chance. You need to give them that information. They need to know that you are there. They need to know what your needs are so that they can provide accordingly. One of the greatest joys I see in the evenings is I see a lot of our elderly jogging in the parks that have come up. I don't know if you've noticed it, or very early in the morning. It wasn't there years ago. But now that those facilities are there, people are actually using them. We need to remember that we are living longer, and we need to promote a more healthy society to reduce the cost of hospital care.
Okay, so interesting. So this thing is in our enlightened self-interest.
Yes.
If you register, then government knows exactly how many people. If for instance, based on what you're saying now, if you say 1.8 million people have registered, probably that's 20% or 15% of the population of Lagos State. If government provides for 1.8 million people, maybe in Alimosho, out of that 1.8 million, maybe 400,000 have registered in Alimosho. If government provides for 400,000 people in Alimosho, there will be an epidemic.
Exactly.
Let's take a final time out, and I'll be back for my final segment with Ms. Yinka Fashola. We'll be right back. You're welcome to my final segment with Ms. Yinka Fashola. She's the General Manager, the Chief Executive Officer of the Lagos State Residents Registration Agency. She's trained to do that job. She holds a BA in Economics and Business from Washington State University. And she's worked as a systems and database administrator for probably up to over a decade in the UK Office of National Statistics and the UK Ministry of Justice. And so she has this role of helping Lagos figure out how many people live in Lagos, what their ages are, what their needs are, and where exactly they live. So you mentioned something about investigation when data doesn't match doesn't pass verification, you investigate.
Okay.
What does that entail?
Like I said, we have a very complex biometric system, and we have, when we pass things through, it checks the entire record. So for each new person, it checks against the 1 point something million to find out that they're not a duplicate. Now, sometimes they will come up and then you see that the information might be right, but you have two people, the same person twice. We have a lot of funny stories behind it. Maybe the person didn't like their picture. So they come back.
Went to take another one.
And yes, you have things like that. So that is the responsibility of that investigation unit to actually investigate and find out.
So those examples prove that your system works?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
So if there's a fingerprint repeated, it catches it?
Oh, yes.
If there's a name and address that matches, it catches it?
Yes. So, I mean, what I tend to appeal to people is do not register more than once, because unfortunately, the one you registered first is the one that gets to the system first. So if you register again, when we're going to do your final card, it will have thrown that new registration out. So regardless of the fact that you went to register to have a nicer picture, you will still get the old one.
But let me ask you something. So if something is wrong, if I figure that something is wrong with the first data I gave you, maybe I didn't give you the right middle name, and I said Toby instead of Oluwa Toby, and I now wanted to read my full names, do you have a process where I can update or amend or improve my data?
Yes, you can. All you have to do is we have a form available on our website where you can go to download it, fill in the information and send it to us. But you must put supporting documents. Okay. So if you want to change your name, from if I put Yinka and you want to use Ola Yinka, yes, whatever documents that you use to identify yourself must support that. Yes.
Okay. Excellent. So is there a connection or a relationship between your efforts and those of, say, the National Census or Population Commission at the federal level? Does this thing interface in any way? No,
at this point it doesn't.
Okay.
And you have to remember that census data is static. Okay. It's only collected every 10 years. Okay. So there's not a lot of changes that will go to it. This is something that is continuously being updated, because we are now working that everybody is now responsible for their own data. So if you register with us and you move, you are duty bound to come back to change your place of residence with our system, because when you transact with any other government department, it will show the same address that you've given us.
Let me dig deeper on that. So if a citizen lives registered here and moves back to his village in Benue State, but doesn't come to you, does not, and I know most Nigerians won't bother coming to you. So how will that work?
Well, if they ever come back to do business with Lagos State or to access any of the services, that is the address that will come up. Okay. And usually people will give another address at that point, okay, because what we will be offering is a verification service. One of the things that we have in mind is there's a lot of data in Lagos State, but none of the data is integrated with the yeah. This is going to be the means to actually now integrate all that data together. So you can't give a different information in one government department and give a different one in another one. I mean, it's more useful for hospitals where they are able to say the same person that went to Bagada General is the same one that went to LASSRA. Instead of having different information.
Files, yes. And not connecting the medical data.
Yeah.
Excellent. So maybe you should make a final appeal to Lagosians, to residents of Lagos in terms of this registration. What's your message to us, all of us in Lagos?
Well, my message is one of simplicity. And I say that this is a great country and it is a great state and it can go very far, but we all have to play a part in it. So go out and register. It costs you nothing. We're open Saturdays, we're open Sundays. If you have an issue, give us a call. So one of my staff will come out. They're very polite, they know what they're doing, and they're very, very eager to work. So please, give us a call. We say to businesses, if you're 100 or more, or even communities like a housing estate, if you're 100 or more, give us a call. We will come to you. And we've done everything to make it as easy as possible. Everybody can participate. If you don't have the documents, don't worry. Give us a call. We will walk to you to enable for you to register. We have people where it is the ballet that actually says, we know these people. And we register them. So it's not an exercise where people will be are excluded. And what we're now doing is working with the Ministry of Education, and we're saying that come September, your children must be registered to be able to go to school in Lagos State. You must register your children because we no longer work classroom sizes of 100. We want to have the same number and give them the same educational opportunities and, like anywhere else.
Excellent. So that's the message from Ms. Yinka Fashola and the Lagos State Residents Registration Agency and the Lagos State Government. Get yourselves registered. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
We'll be right back. That was an interesting discussion. The benefits of citizens or residents registration are clear. Without proper data, without an accurate demographic picture of the state, planning is impossible, and infrastructure and service provision will always be suboptimal. In short, it's in our enlightened self-interest to register ourselves with the Residents Registration Agency. Otherwise, we forfeit the right to complain about the insufficiency of infrastructure and the absence of services. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.